Dad, where have you been? I was so worried.
Go away. Don't touch me.
I froze on the spot, not understanding why my once kind-hearted father was being so cold toward me. I snapped out of my daze and tried helping him forward, but he flinched me away. My eyes started to tear up, and I didn't know what to do. Then another woman appeared. She quickly helped him up and smiled at me. Don't worry, sweetie. I'll take care of him. Excuse me? Who was she? My mother had barely been put in the ground, and Dad had already moved on? I couldn't watch any more of this, so I quickly left the room. How could things go downhill this quickly? My life used to be so simple and perfect. I had a loving family. I was always on top at school. People always complimented me on how I inherited both the beauty and intelligence of my mom and dad. But then a traffic accident happened and took Mom away from us. Ever since then, my polite, well-mannered, loving dad changed into a cruel, bitter drunk who seemed to despise me. The next day, I arrived home from school with the worry about what state my dad would be in. But, why was Uncle Alfred on my doorstep? I invited him inside, and there was Dad, slumped on the couch, surrounded by empty beer cans. As soon as he saw us, he slurred out and started throwing the cans at us. Uncle Alfred then took me to dinner so we could have a talk, and I couldn't help the tears as I blurted out how bad things were at home. He patted my arm and said,
Your father's been through a lot. I think it's best if we give him time to sort himself out. I think you should come live with us for a while.
So that's how I ended up living with Uncle Alfred, Aunt Madeline, and my cousin Charity. At first, everything seemed fine. As bad as it sounds, it was a relief to be away from Dad and to be able to properly process my thoughts for once. I was so grateful to Uncle Alfred for giving me a second home. But then he went away on a business trip, and everything changed. I was walking back to my room when Charity appeared in her doorway and tripped me up. As I stumbled and landed on my hands and knees, she snorted out, Yes, that's right. Bow down to your queen, you hideous peasant. You should know your place in this house. Ugh, that girl was such a pain. Since her dad went away, she wouldn't quit tormenting me. It's ironic that her name is Charity, but she doesn't seem kind at all. I'd had enough of her cruel jibes. This had just got personal. So I angrily replied, I know you're just jealous of me because your grades suck and you're not as pretty. Charity's eyes welled up. Then she shoved past me and ran to her mom. I followed after her and explained what happened to my Aunt Madeline. She frowned at Charity, then scolded her. Phew. Fortunately, I had Aunt Madeline on my side. Anyway, justice is served, right? Wrong, as it wasn't long before my aunt's attitude changed toward me too. One time, I was helping my aunt cook a casserole when the doorbell rang. It turned out to be an old friend of my aunt. As soon as she saw me, she happily said, Wow, it's only been a few years, but Charity sure has grown up. The older she gets, the more she looks like Alfred, doesn't she? Look at her eyes and smile. I stared at Aunt Madeline in confusion and saw her mood immediately shift. That night when I brought the casserole dish out, Aunt Madeline took one bite, then spat it into a napkin. You're clumsy, thoughtless, and now an awful cook? Be a bit more useful, will you? I stared at her open-mouthed, unable to find the words to say. Then Charity piped in, Please, never make this again. Casserole is so gross. Just like you. Then she smirked at me as she dumped the entire plate into the trash. Weird. Didn't Aunt Madeline tell me to cook this because it was Charity's favorite? It seemed like life in this house wasn't going to get any easier. Over the next week, their mocking and snide comments continued. One day I styled my hair in a different way, and Charity snickered at me. What's that? It looks like you got a lobster on your head. Have you ever considered dyeing your hair, by the way? Because blonde really doesn't suit you. On another occasion, I was invited to a party, so I put on this cute dress, but when I walked downstairs in it, they both stared at me. My aunt said, Oh, dear, is that piece of rag making you look even chubbier than usual? Or is it because you've been so well fed living with us? Another time, I was sitting at the breakfast table, dabbing lip gloss onto my lips, when Charity yanked it off me. As I tried to grab it back, she sniggered out, What for? Putting this on your gross lips just makes you look desperate. No one wants to kiss you anyway. Gosh, my patience with this girl was wearing very thin. Worse still, Aunt Madeline overheard the whole thing, but she just laughed. I didn't understand why they were being like this. I knew I wasn't ugly or fat, and far from it. I know I'm pretty, as I was always complimented on my glossy long hair. Well, until I moved here, anyway. This was so confusing. Why were they jealous of me? It turns out that being too beautiful was not easy. Ugh. Things got trickier when my dad, who's also the school principal, returned to work after his time off. He totally ignored me, and it made me feel terrible. Then I arrived home from school to Aunt Madeline fussing over me and asking if I wanted anything to eat. Huh? What? Oh, I see. Uncle Alfred was back from his work trip. Ugh! It was time I exposed this mother-daughter duo's fake act once and for all. So that evening, I volunteered to cook. Yep, you guessed it. I made the casserole dish. As I brought it out, Charity accidentally shouted, "Ew! I already told you I hate this dish." Aunt Madeline turned pale, and Charity gave this gawping, shocked look. Then I dropped to my knees and pleaded, "I know I'm wrong. Please don't punish me anymore. I don't want to sleep in the basement again." Uncle Alfred looked very confused, so I continued. "I forgot that Charity hates this dish. I've been punished several times, but I still keep on messing up. I'm the one to blame." "What is this? I go away for a few weeks and come back to carnage?" He ordered Aunt Madeline into their room for a private chat. "We're not even related. Don't expect my mother and I to be nice to you," she said, then stormed off. What? What did Charity mean? Of course we were related. Aunt Madeline was my dad's sister, right? I wanted to know what was going on, so I hid behind the door and listened in on their conversation. "Tell me the truth. Teresa is your child with Claire, isn't she?" I was taken aback. Claire? My mother? Had I misheard her? "I know. Mark told me. The day Claire had the accident, they ran some blood tests, and he found out Teresa's blood type didn't match his. Obviously, she's not his biological daughter, and she looks just like you. Now tell me, did you and Claire cheat behind our backs? You used to be in love with her before you married me. So Dad treated me like that because he found out I'm not his own daughter? And Alfred and my mom used to be in love before she got married to my dad? Explain to me!" "Enough!" Alfred finally spoke up. "I have nothing to explain to you." Hearing footsteps toward me, I rushed to my room, closed the door, then crawled into my blanket pretending to be asleep. Suddenly, I heard the door open. It was Alfred. "Teresa, let's get out of here." I packed a bag and left with my Uncle Alfred. We moved into a small apartment not too far from his house. Even though he took care of me a lot, he never mentioned that day ever again. I didn't dare to ask either. So we just let it slide. He had to be my real dad, right? He just wasn't ready to talk about it yet. I tried to avoid Charity as much as possible, but this wasn't always easy as we went to the same school. It wasn't like I was scared of her or anything, it was just awkward. Then one day, I walked along the corridor to see flyers stuck to lockers, doors, windows, and floating around the floor. They all had a picture of my face on them, and scrawled across them was, "This fraud is the product of her cheating mom and a married man." Everyone was giving me dirty looks and whispering about me. I panicked and rushed out of there, but I wasn't looking where I was going and bumped straight into a jock, and standing next to him was Charity. "Enjoy the fame. These flyers were specially made for you." Right at that moment, my father appeared holding a flyer. He waved it in front of her. "What is this? Who allows you to trash the school with this rubbish? Leave Teresa alone." I couldn't cope with my father right now, so I ran off to class. That afternoon, I heard the school speaker announce that everything written on the flyers was lies, and Charity would be in detention. Once the last bell rang, I just wanted to get home and hide away from the world. But as I walked outside, I saw my dad waiting for me at the gate. I had nothing to say to him, so I ignored him and walked off. "Please, Teresa, at least hear me out." I stopped on the spot, then walked over to him. I guess it was time I found out the truth. So, turns out, yes, I'm not his daughter. But I wasn't Uncle Alfred's daughter either. "I found this, and it made me feel so guilty," he said. He showed me an artificial insemination certificate file. Turns out after years of trying, my parents went to run some tests, and my dad was diagnosed as infertile. Mom didn't want him to be upset, so she secretly got artificial insemination and gave birth to me. "It was never your mom's fault, and I was wrong to treat you like that. I'm
I'm so sorry.
A fresh ran of tears streamed down my face with each word I heard from him.
Teresa, I'm so sorry that us adults, selfishness and bitterness has hurt you.
Startled, I turned around to find that Uncle Alfred was already there behind me. I guess he'd come to pick me up, and I didn't notice since I was talking to my dad. He must have heard the whole story.
Alfred and I will do anything to make it up to you. Even if you want to find your biological dad, we'll try our best.
I looked at him and Uncle Alfred, thinking, there's no need to, as I've already got 2 amazing dads.
Hey guys, Private Davis here. Yep, Taylor Davis, the girl who secretly disguised herself as her twin brother to attend an all-boy military school. In the last part, I had to deal with my fair share of challenges, but having Tom and Henry, my 2 best pals by my side, made things way easier. But still, there were problems my 2 comrades couldn't help me with, such as this situation right now involving Ellis, finding out about my real identity. Not that I'm interested in your mess, but I need to find my brother Jacob. So let's make a deal. I'll keep your secret if you help me find him. What? How am I meant to find a guy I don't even know? To my surprise, Ellis then truthfully told me his story. Turns out, he came to this school for 2 reasons: to punish those who picked on Jacob and to find clues about his disappearance. Meanwhile, I coincidentally met this Jacob guy outside of school and found his dog tag, so I was the only lead he had for now. But could I really trust this guy? I mean, just look at what he did to Eric. If you don't want to do it, then I can go to the principal's office. Okay, so what? I found the dog tag while we snuck out to a local girls' school. That's all I know. If you spill my secret, I won't let you find your brother in peace either. So you better know a way to take me to that school. I'll pick the time to make a move, and you just try your best not to get caught. The next morning, I was walking to class as usual when I passed a bunch of guys huddled together, whispering something about me? Huh? Wait, did Ellis reveal my identity to everyone? Such a fraud! I ran to find him, but accidentally crashed into this boy called Finley. I helped him up as the whispers around us got even louder. Guess you're one of the alleged suspects too. Finley then told me that yesterday, someone discovered a box that looked just like a pack of candy in the bathroom, but inside were a bunch of tampons. So now the students thought there was either a pervert on campus or that one of us was secretly a girl. And according to them, anyone who never joined the public shower was suspicious. Oh no, what if they found out the tampons were mine? Guys, hot girl alert! Everyone immediately forgot about me and flocked to him. The buzz on campus was that an inspection officer was staying here for a few months, and he'd brought his beautiful daughter Ivy along with him. People said she looks like a fairy with this ethereal vibe. Just then the inspector, Ivy, and his group stepped into the hallway. I watched them all drool over her. Poof, please. Anyone would think they'd never seen a girl before. She walked past these silly boys with a smug smile, but as soon as she caught sight of me standing there unfazed, she froze to the spot and stared straight at me. What? Was I supposed to show off my smitten face too? Dad, I need someone to show me around school. Can I take him? What? Why me? I couldn't even say anything as the principal had already agreed. Come on, let's go. Oh, you're so muscular. Ew, gross! Later on, she shooed Henry and Tom out of the entertainment room just because she wanted to spend time alone with me. Another time, when we were about to do our cleaning duty, Ivy popped out of nowhere and asked me to go hang with her. She even stopped 2 guys passing by and did her whole fluttering eyelashes routine to persuade them to do my cleaning duties instead. Ivy, I appreciate your help, but we all have our chores to do. This isn't fair on the others. Don't you get it, Jack? I did all this because I want to be close to you. I like you. I think you'll be better suited to someone else. Then I ran out of there, leaving everyone behind stunned at my harsh rejection. For the next couple of days, Ivy was furious and looked at me like she wanted to tear me to pieces. And the whispers started circulating again. They said that refusing a girl as beautiful as Ivy meant that I must have not had any interest in girls. Or even worse, I probably was a girl myself, And I was the one who dropped the tampons in the bathroom. Gosh, this was bad. That night, as usual, I just stepped out of the communal bathroom after a late night shower when someone suddenly dragged me into the equipment room. It was Ellis. What's going on? Just then, footsteps resounded from the hall. I held my breath as I anxiously waited for them to pass by. Phew, that was close. Turns out, that afternoon, Ellis heard the officers discussing security tightening, especially in the student communal bathroom area at night. So he waited for me outside and hid me just in time. He saved me. We tried to sneak through the new building close to our dorm, but unfortunately bumped into Ivy. What are you doing here? Trying to sneak out, huh? Officer!
It's not what you think. Jack came here to confess his feelings to you, right? Jack? Oh, yes. I think I'm fond of you.
Oh, yeah? Then why did you refuse me the other day?
He was just too insecure. I mean, you're quite the catch with your high-up dad, while he's just a private. But he can't ignore his feelings for you any longer, so...
Ugh, cringe. But it worked, as Ivy looked so moved and lunged forward to hug me. Then I guess we officially became a couple? And as Ellis planned, the rumors about me being a girl were replaced with jealous gazes. Now Ivy followed me to every class, every break time. I barely had any time alone. This tactical combat course was my only chance to get away from her. We had to go to this warehouse to practice saving a mannequin captive. I was focusing on the mission, but still got caught by an enemy. Wait, it was Ellis? He seemed agitated and told me we needed to leave this Friday afternoon. As we were discussing how to sneak out of school, why do you need to meet up? We almost jumped out of our skin. Ivy!
Why are you sneaking up on us? What did you hear?
Just you asking my boyfriend out? Oh, I see what's going on here. You like Jack, don't you? Weirdly, Ellis seemed flustered. He was sweating and mumbling out nonsense. Was he that scared of Ivy? Suddenly, Ivy grabbed my collar, trying to kiss me? Panicked, I shoved her duck face away. Just in time, the siren went off, signaling the course was over, so I ran out of there. To avoid Ivy, the plan changed to early Friday morning. I had to fake an injury to get out of class. Ellis and I met up at the back door, jumped into the milk delivery truck, and let it take us to the local girls' school. When we arrived, I led him to the school entrance where I'd found Jacob's dog tag. We spoke to some students, but no one knew who Jacob was, and people started to stare at us as if we were creeps. We were about to give up when this woman approached us.
Why are you looking for Jacob? You look exactly like him.
Turned out she's Mrs. Walker, a teacher here, and she knows Jacob. Her husband found him dazed and injured at the edge of the woods and took him in. His health got better with time, but his happiness didn't. So when prom came, Mrs. Walker told Jacob to go and enjoy the night, hoping he'd feel better. But he returned early and was only invested in this dog tag he'd picked up from someone named Jack Davis, since that was also the name of Jacob's favorite drag queen who performed at big theaters. This incident then gave Jacob a push to take action. He always wanted to live with his true self, but he'd been lost along the way. So he decided to venture to find Jack Davis, the role model that might be the only one who could help him now. He had parted ways with the Walkers to go on this self-discovery journey not long ago. On the way back, Ellis and I stayed quiet. I didn't expect Jacob to know my twin brother. Should I tell Ellis that I might know where Jacob went? But I couldn't just lead him to my home to find his brother, as my parents didn't know I'd disguised as Jack and joined this all-boy military school. If they ever found out about this, I could kiss my soldier dreams goodbye. When the truck stopped, I got off and was about to go back to the dorm when Ellis pulled my hand.
You know that Jack, right? Is he your twin brother? If it's true, then please tell me where he is.
I'm sorry, but I can't. I've got homework to do. Then I left as he called after me. The next day, I tried to avoid Ellis, but he was ahead of me. He was desperate, but I just shook my head.
You selfish fraud!
Right away, Tom ran to stand between me and Ellis while Henry defended me.
What, you want to become the next Eric? Get lost, you jerk!
Oh no. I tried explaining to them that Ellis didn't mean any harm, but they didn't listen and just pulled me away from him. I felt so bad. For that whole day, I kept thinking about what had happened. Ellis was right. I was selfish. He might never see his brother again because of me. I had to go help him. But when I got to his room, his roommate said he'd already taken his annual leave to go find his brother. Oh no, he must have figured out my home address somehow. I gotta go home, but how to get out of school? It wasn't milk delivery day. As I was thinking, Tom and Henry approached me, asking why I was acting so weird. This was it. I guess I shouldn't lie to them any longer.
Guys, I have something to tell you.
I'm actually a girl. Then I told them why I came here in the first place, how things got entangled with Ellis, and now he went looking for my house as his brother might be there. I waited for them to be mad, but instead, they smiled gently at me. That's a pretty big secret to carry. Girl or boy, this changes nothing. You're still our friend. They were not angry with me. I felt so relieved knowing that I didn't have to hide anything from them anymore. Now I just needed to figure out a way to go home.
We can handle this. Go wait near the back gate.
And I did. Just in time, the fire alarm went off, and all officers guarding the gate ran to that direction. A few seconds later, the back gate suddenly opened and the CCTV went off, and I just slid through easily. Luckily, I arrived home before Ellis did. My heart was pounding when I knocked on the door. Then Mom and Dad opened it. Needless to say, seeing their daughter dressed as a boy soldier was a huge shock. I quickly explained to them how I'd secretly taken Jack's place, and their faces kept turning darker and darker.
How could you lie to us, then illegally enter an all-boys military school? What were you thinking?
Right then, Jack, my twin, rushed down the stairs. He immediately got what was going on and backed me up.
Mom, Dad, this has been Taylor's dream ever since she was little. This is dangerous. If you get caught, you could be sent to a juvenile center. Pack your bags and quit the school right now.
In that heated moment, Ellis barged in.
Jacob? Jacob! Are you here? Where did you hide him?
I tried to calm him, but it was no use. The whole scene was chaotic. Then suddenly he stopped dead, staring at the stairs. Huh? Someone else was here. Someone with silky, long hair, a beautifully made-up face, in a super pretty dress. It was Jacob. He apologized to my parents for his brother's behavior. Then we all sat down as he told us how he realized from a young age that he was interested in feminine things. So he used to sneak into his mom's closet and use her clothes and makeup. One time, his parents caught him and they were so worried about his deviant behavior, they forced him to attend military school, hoping to straighten him up. But of course, he didn't fit in there and was fed up with being teased by Eric. So when he saw a chance to run away, he did so without hesitation, cutting off all ties with the school and his family. Luckily, the walkers found him in the woods and took great care of him. Still, it wasn't enough. He needed to discover his true self. So we came to Jack's.
I beg of you, don't make me go back home again. I can't stand the disappointed look on Mom and Dad's faces. I just want to be myself. I know it must be hard, but you gotta go home and face your parents. Once they know how you truly feel, they'll understand.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for being so reckless, but being a soldier is my dream. Please give me a chance.
I can't let you do it. But you can have till the end of the semester to pack your stuff and say your goodbyes. That's it.
Just then, I heard footsteps outside. It was Ivy. What was she doing here? You tricked me. I already knew there was something weird going on with you and Ellis. But you're a girl? Lucky me, I had your whole secret recorded here. Let's see how my dad punishes you, fraud. This is bad. Ellis and I jumped into his car and drove back to the school immediately. But we arrived back to an unexpected situation. The principal, aka Eric's dad, was already packing his things, and a strange lady with a stern look was sitting at his desk. Wait, did this mean we had a new principal? Yep, turns out the inspection officer came to school to investigate our principal on allegations that he'd been condoning his son's mistreatment of other students. And it was none other than Ellis here who had been gathering up evidence to help him. Then what about me? Well, in return for Ellis's assistance, the officer decided to let me stay and study here. In fact, the new principal even had some other plans. Finally, it's the end of the semester. Whew! And you know what? Our school now officially welcomes female students, which means I'm legitimately the first girl in school. I'm so grateful for our new principal. Meanwhile, me, Henry, and Tom are still the best of comrades. Obviously, nothing could ever stand between us. And of course, my parents are okay with me staying since I don't have to hide my real identity anymore. About Jacob, he actually listened to Jack's advice and went home to talk to his parents. They were shocked to see him like that, but as he poured his heart out to them, they decided to slowly accept the real him. As for his brother, Ellis, we went through a lot together, and now we're best friends. There might be some sparks between us, though, but I don't know. Let's just wait and...
Hey Beans, welcome back to my channel. I'm so cranked to introduce today's special guest, my daughter Elle. Say hi, sweetie.
Hi, we're making butter from scratch today. I'm so excited.
Elle, can you please do this properly? Mom, it's the 6th take already. I can't even film my arms anymore. If you're still not satisfied, then film it yourself. Hey, I'm Elle, a high school student living in Wisconsin with my mom. From the outside, there's nothing out of the ordinary about us. Well, except that my mom's a vintage holic. See, she in fact became a famous YouTuber for her 1950s lifestyle. Living like this was such a hassle, but that's what puts food on our table, so I had to put up with it. However, sometimes Mom even insisted that I join in her videos, like today. Ugh. Not just that, whenever we went out together, she made me wear the cheesiest vintage dresses, so I wouldn't ruin her aesthetic. As a hip-hop dancer, it was torture. See? I sure look way better in these clothes. Oh dear, what are those awful threads? Here, try this. It's really the bee's knees. Bee's knees, she said? More like granny.
Ah, so pretty. Auntie, you have such excellent taste.
That's Daisy, my cousin, and also schoolmate, who gets along much better with my mom. Jeez, I can't let this hideous dress go home with us. If you like this so much, why don't you just take it instead, Daisy? Mom then walked to the counter with some more tacky clothes, ready to pay, but... Gee, where did I put it? Guess I'll come back another time. Oh, missing something, Mommy? It's okay, Mrs. Fay. You're a regular, so you can pay us next time. Wait, what? No! So, now I had to wear this ugly dress to the boring event Mom was dragging me to. Because the more the merrier. On the way there, Mom was talking a blue steak about how I should behave at the bash. When suddenly, huh? What now? Awesome! This must be the 3rd time this hunk of junk has broken down this month. Isn't it fantastic? And we don't even have phones to call for help. Elle, I've told you, it'd be ridiculous to show up with smartphones while dressing like this. Besides, people used to live just fine without them. Stop relying on them so much. Trust me, some nobleman will soon come to our rescue. Stay here and wait all you want. I'm gonna go look for a garage. But I only managed a couple of steps before a fancy car pulled over, and an old man in a suit stepped out and offered to help. Turns out he's one of Mom's subscribers and even asked for a picture. Thank you so much for saving my chariot. You're the ginchiest. Gosh, here she goes again with her old-timey slangs. Eventually, we reached this Antsville, and as soon as we arrived, Mom immediately ran to her celeb friends and posed for photos, leaving me lost and confused. While I was trying to navigate through this madness, some whispering caught my attention. Isn't that Faye? She's so extra. I can't even get past the first 5 minutes of her videos. Oh yeah? And still, Mom thought the whole world was her fan. I don't get why she wanted to be here with these fake people that much. I was not having any of that stuffy place, so I went outside to get some air. As I wandered along the street, I spotted a group of teenagers dancing to old-school hip-hop. This is right up my alley. But wait. This stupid dress. My jam is coming on, though. So, letting my adrenaline take over, I joined the crowd. Everyone seemed impressed and even made room for me to shine. Then one of them joined me. I was really feeling it when a familiar screeching voice startled me. Elle, what on earth are you doing? Agitate the gravel, now! Then Mom dragged me to the car and drove me straight home. Gringles, do you understand that if anyone sees you like that, the perfect image I've built all these years will be in ruins? Pfft, then don't drag me into these things. Do it alone. Mind your manners. You should find something more practical rather than dancing like those good-for-nothing lazy bums. I'd had enough. Furious, I stormed into my room and stayed there all night. The next morning, I woke up to the rumbling sound of an empty stomach. When the coast was clear, I went downstairs to check the fridge for food. Ew, what's that rotten egg smell? Jesus, this fridge must be from Napoleon times. I reluctantly went for an instant soup, but the microwave wouldn't even heat it up. And guess what? My mom spent over $500 just for this thing's useless 50s look. Then I decided to put on a movie to blow off some steam. But the ancient TV wouldn't turn on either. Unbelievable! Is there anything in this rusty dollhouse that actually works? I need to get out of here before going insane. Oh, there's a new family moving in next door. Hang on, isn't that the guy I was dancing with last night? He smiled and waved at me, but I could only force a smile and nodded back. Hey, why the long face? If you're bored, come give me a hand. Then he dragged me over to his yard before I could reply. Once we're done, we rested on the front porch. Turns out his name was Royce. He'd just moved in with his dad and had enrolled at my school. I have to admit, he's quite the charmer, and within minutes, I felt comfortable enough to tell him about my unconventional life with Mom. My mom has way too much free time. I wish she'd find a man. Only then she might quit nagging me.
Meanwhile, my dad is always busy. If he had someone by his side, he'd want to spend more time with his family and be less of a workaholic.
Wait a minute.
So, how about we make them
A couple! Today is the day. Our parents have really tight schedules, so planning out this date took a lot of effort. But so far, so good. I've told my mom to check out this vintage-themed restaurant in town while Royce told his dad that he wanted some father-son bonding time. Then, oops, we accidentally bump into each other and join tables. Look at my mom, gracefully fixing her hair and acting all charming. I winked at Royce and then we made an excuse to leave the table so the adults could have some private time. It's been a little while. Let's see how the two are doing. Goodness gracious, was Mr. Phillips slurping on the spaghetti? He's making a mess, and Mom seemed really embarrassed. We immediately rushed inside to save this date before it's too late. At the end of the evening, we thought the worst was behind us. Mr. Phillips walked out without holding the door open for Mom, making it swing back in her face. Gosh. Every beginning is difficult, I guess. Over the next few days, Royce and I beat our brains out to try and find a way to save their budding relationship, and came down to this. Mom, I twisted my ankle during practice. Can you please pick me up? Hey, Dad, I forgot my wallet at the practice room. Could you pick it up on the way home? Then we waited until our parents showed up and went inside to lock the door and even turn off the lights for dramatic effect. I immediately heard my mom's horrified scream. Then the room went quiet. I bet Mr. Phillips calmed her down. We waited a few minutes before calling the security guard to open the door. But contrary to our expectations, the one being hysterical was Mr. Phillips, who was now sobbing in my mother's arms. Wait, what? Turns out Royce forgot that his dad, who always sleeps with the light on, is in fact nyctophobic. There goes plan B. This was bad. Everything kept going south and the clock was ticking as Royce's dad had to leave for another business trip soon. We can't accept defeat like this. There must be something your dad's really good at, right?
I don't know, he's good at fixing stuff.
Ha! Then we know what to do next. While Mom was taking a shower, I waited for my plan to set in motion. 3, 2, 1. Ah! Elle! Help me! I ran over to her to see water shooting out from a broken faucet. After a couple of minutes of struggle, I called Royce's house for help, aka Mr. Phillips. As soon as he arrived, he went straight into the bathroom and helped Mom out of that pool. He looked way too cool, just like Superman. Now, time for his forte to speak up. As expected, he fixed it all in a blink, and Mom even invited the two of them to stay for dinner as a thank you. Great! During dinner, Mr. Phillips kept praising my mom's cooking. He admitted that this coziness reminded him of the good old days. Seeing things escalate between them, Royce and I finished quickly and excused ourselves to give them some time alone.
My dad's right. I can't remember the last time we sat together, as a family.
Then he told me that his parents divorced a few years back, and due to his dad's work, they were always moving from place to place, which really wore him out. Seeing his sad gaze made me feel so bad for him. I just wanted to give him a hug. Hold on. What nonsense was I thinking? I immediately brushed off that weird thought, and we chatted until late. The next day at school, I was talking to Royce as usual when suddenly our conversation was interrupted. Oh my god, aren't you the new guy? How do you know him? Huh? Where did Daisy come from? And is befriending Royce something strange? Then she whispered to me that Royce's good looks hadn't gone unnoticed by other students. Wow, no wonder I kept feeling like we were being watched whenever we hung out at school. Daisy then proceeded to chime in between us and talk to Royce non-stop, even on our way home, when clearly her house was not in the same direction as ours. How annoying! But good news, back at home, Mom seemed to be floating on air. I caught her humming along to love songs, and she didn't nag me at all when I went to dance practice. Royce also said that his dad had been in a great mood too. Sparks were definitely flying between them. Our plan finally worked. Good job, sis. Huh? Was I really gonna be his stepsister? I should be happy with this outcome, right? But what was this uneasy feeling? One day at practice, I walked in on Daisy and Royce and immediately felt awkward, so I just rolled myself into a corner. Why did I react that way seeing them be so close? Is it possible that I've fallen for him? This can't be. We're gonna be family. There's no way this can happen. After that day, I tried to avoid Royce. Despite his new girl, he still bothered me, but I kept my distance. I was brooding all the way home until I heard my mom talking on the phone as I entered the house. And I'll bake you some pecan pie, darling. Wait a minute. Royce and his dad were both allergic to pecan, so who's she being all lovey-dovey with? The next day, as usual, I told my mom I'd go to practice, but actually lingered outside the house to stalk on Mom. I saw her on the couch video calling some strange man. Oh gosh, did my mom really cheat on Royce's dad? How could she? Still in shock, I glumly lurked to Graffiti Alley and spotted Royce and Daisy there. They seemed to be talking about something really serious. So, you already knew? Yeah, ages ago, but it's clear that we can't just force love on someone. So you mean to just give up and happily watch them see other people? Oh no, so they knew Mom was unfaithful to Mr. Phillips already? How embarrassing. Right at that moment, Daisy spotted me, so I frantically ran away. After school the following day, Daisy wanted to talk with me in private. However, it was not about what happened yesterday. Do me a favor and stop hovering around Royce all the time, will you? But Royce is my friend. I can't just stop seeing him because you said so. If you like him, be my guest. Suddenly, Daisy fell to the ground. Ouch! Why did you push me? Huh? What is she doing? At that exact moment, Royce showed up and worriedly checked on her. Okay, now I know what's going on. Sorry about that. Let me give you a hand. When she was just about to stand up, I shoved her. Now you know what my real push feels like. I noticed Roy's stunned look, but just walked off. Now that I don't seem so great in his eyes anymore, he'll stop approaching me. Sweetie, what's wrong? What's wrong? This is all your fault. If you didn't cheat on Mr. Phillips, everything would be fine. What do you mean? Cheating on whom? Then my mom burst out laughing after I told her. Turns out they never dated. They both saw through our matchmaking plan early on, but decided to just be good friends. And the person I saw Mom video calling with was her boyfriend, but she hadn't introduced him yet because they'd only started dating. But why set us up in the first place? Finally, I had the chance to tell her how I truly felt about being forced into her vintage world and not being able to pursue my love for street dancing. Mom was quiet for a second and then said, Gee, how silly I've been. I've been inspiring strangers to go after their dreams, but I stopped my own daughter from pursuing hers. I felt so much better after pouring my heart out. I also mentioned Royce's situation with his dad, and she promised to talk to him about it. Hang on. This means... Mom, so you and Mr. Phillips are just friends, right? Immediately, I ran off to find Royce. As if on cue, the doorbell rang, and it was... Daisy! What game is she playing now? If she's here to mess around, come at me already. But surprisingly, Daisy apologized. I'm sorry, I was just blinded by jealousy. And there's nothing going on between me and Royce. He in fact already rejected me the day you saw us at the Graffiti Alley. Also, he asked me to give you this. I opened the box to see an adorable keychain with I love you on it. Oh my, is this a love confession? But there's also a note saying, I'm leaving for another city. Till we meet again. No! I sprinted to his house right away. Oh Lord, he's already packing. Without thinking, I hugged him and started sobbing. So, you read my message? Yeah.
And what do you think?
I feel the same, but you're leaving for real? Then his smile turned playful, and he admitted he was just messing with me. Turns out he was going away, but only for a few days, for a dance competition. Really? That's awesome! But I can't forgive you for tricking me yet. So, yeah. Although we couldn't get our parents together, us two actually became a couple, so our matchmaking scheme isn't a total failure, right? We were even able to change a few things for the better. For instance, Mom spoke to Royce's dad, and he agreed not to move for the time being so his son could settle in. Mom also promised to check in on him when his dad's away on business. As for our family, my mom no longer tried so hard to act like she's not living in 2023. She now sometimes includes modern elements in her vlogs as well, and I even become a regular guest on her channel. Hey Beans, today my fiance and I are baking this fab coconut cake, along with my daughter and our boyfriend. They are hip-hop dancers. Check out their channel if that's something you fancy. They're really the cat's pajamas.
Ugh, who's calling at this hour? Orla, your sister is having a wedding this weekend. Make arrangements to attend. My sister Rowan is having a what now? She had never had a date, and she's only 19. Are you still listening, Orla? Surely you have a boyfriend by now, so bring him along. Boyfriend? Yeah, right. As if I haven't been absolutely caught up with school lately. No matter what I did, in Mom's eyes, I was always the idle one who partied around with boys, while Rowan was obedient and hard-working. Ugh! You see, my parents divorced ages ago, so I live with my father in Atlanta, and my mom and sister Rowan live in the suburbs of Denver with my grandma. It's been a long time since I've met her, so I wouldn't mind paying a visit on this occasion. Only, where am I meant to find a guy at this short notice? My dear hometown, it's been a hot minute. Oh, there's Paul.
Sorry I kept you waiting. Let's go, gorgeous.
Let me introduce my boyfriend, a local college boy that I found on the internet. Even though we're on business terms, look at him. Handsome, gallant, and polite. I hit the jackpot. As we pulled up at the house, I saw my grandma waiting outside with a casual-looking guy. Oh, he must be my future brother-in-law. I happily ran over to hug Grandma. Rowan, you're back. Mata has been waiting for you. My, look at our match made in heaven. Is she confusing me with Rowan? I was about to correct her when suddenly the guy pulled me close and said,
We are indeed a charming couple, aren't we, honey?
Excuse me? Where is he putting his hand on? And is his eyesight just as bad as Grandma's to think I was Rowan? Just then, Rowan stepped forward, but strangely, she just smiled at us, then linked arms with Paul. And this is my boyfriend, Grandma. Do you think we look great together? What's wrong with everyone? Had I been zapped into some parallel universe or something? Suddenly, Rowan dragged me across the garden. Then she told me how Grandma had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which had progressed so quickly recently, meaning sometimes she forgets. Other times she remembers, muddling everyone and everything. Not wanting to upset or confuse her, my mom and sister decided to act according to Grandma's memories, including this wedding. And of course, that Mata guy is not my sister's real fiancé, just a close classmate. But now she's confusing the two of us, so the lead role in this wedding play is yours now. Grandma's memory was deteriorating. Yeah, that sucks. But was a fake wedding necessary? Also, the thought of pairing up with that rude Mata guy sickened me. No way!
Listen to your sister, kid. Everyone is doing it for Grandma.
Did he just call me kid? Okay, that's it. This guy needs to know his place. But before I could jump at him, both my parents appeared and started lecturing me. Ugh, whatever. I stood my ground. Faking a marriage is ridiculous.
Happy now? Dad's little girl is acting spoiled again. Please, I raised her just fine. And you, if you'd taken care of your mother better, she wouldn't have been this way.
Not again. They only see each other once every couple of years, but the bickering always followed almost instantly. What's going on? You two have never been at odds. What's wrong? At the sight of Grandma, Mom and Dad suddenly took a 180. A moment ago, they were screaming each other's heads off, but now they're being all smiley, lovey-dovey. How ridiculous. But did Grandma really not remember that my parents were divorced? Her condition seemed to be as bad as they said.
This meant I had no choice but to go along with their plan to make her happy. However, I was no professional actor. Constantly improvising according to Grandma's memories was not easy, especially when I was stuck with the annoying Maida for a scene partner. My mind was too full of thoughts to sleep properly, so I got up extra early and went for a stroll in the garden. Out of nowhere, Maida ran to me and grabbed my hand. "Did you sleep well last night, Bae?" Huh? Who's he acting for? In this empty garden? Or is this just an excuse to touch me? I forced my hand away from his, but then he had the audacity to whisper in my ear. "Shush, Grandma's watching us from upstairs." Ugh, what a creep. Meanwhile, Rowan said she wanted to please Grandma, but actually, she wasn't even a little bit cooperative. At lunch, while I had to squeeze out a smile as Maida spoon-fed me soup, Rowan was being distant toward Paul, her boyfriend. "Paul, my sister also likes being fed." "Right, that's her favorite dish." Paul got the point right away, so he scooped up some soup and gave it to Rowan as Grandma watched expectantly. But for some reason, my sister seemed irritated, shoved his hand away, and said she's allergic to it, which was some total nonsense. Grandma was obviously discontent hearing that, then stood up to leave the table first. "What's the matter with you, Rowan? You didn't have to look so annoyed in front of Grandma. Why can't you just work with Paul?" "That's how Rowan's always been. She's shy and couldn't open up easily to strange guys as you can." What did she mean by that? Before I could reply, Dad came to my defense. "How can you say that? Isn't Orla trying her best to play her part and not make Grandma suspect a thing?" "Oh, so you two are doing great, and we're just ruining everything?" There they go again. Usually Rowan and I would just stand there and watch, because only our Grandma can stop their fights. And this time was no exception. As soon as they saw Grandma, my parents immediately turned around and held each other's hands. Maida was just as quick when he grabbed my arm as well as Grandma's, and then invited us for a walk. "Hey, who are you? Why are you being so friendly to us?" Oh dear. It was only a few seconds ago, and her memory of him had already vanished. I immediately said Maida and I went to the same college and he was visiting me. I thought that was it, but no. Speaking of college, she immediately asked why we were home when we should be at school. The whole family froze at her reaction. My parents carefully mentioned the wedding to see if she remembered anything, but she snapped. "How can you talk about marriage when my 2 grandchildren are still of school age? Have you two lost your mind?" So, the next morning, I had to go to the university with Rowan. But the cherry on top was riding this tiny pink bicycle together per Grandma's order. This was embarrassing, but how can we refuse? She only recalled the old memories. So I wandered around here all day waiting for Maida and Rowan to finish their classes. Suddenly, I spotted Paul with some girls. "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, Orla, I'm just giving directions to these freshmen. Actually, I'm waiting to pick up your sister." Wow, Paul seems to have a real crush on Rowan. I have to help my timid as a hare sister seize the opportunity. I took Paul to the lecture hall just as class was wrapping up, then pushed Rowan towards him, wished them a happy outing, and quickly pulled Maida away to give the couple some space. Finally, I could go home. But just as we reached the college gate, we saw Dad helping Grandma come this way. Seeing my face turn pale, Dad immediately explained that Grandma thought today was my first day of college, so she insisted on coming to pick us up. Jeez, it was bad enough coming here on a tiny pink bike. I drew the line at my dad and Grandma picking me up. I wasn't a preschooler. I was assigned to tidy the football field. It's my turn on duty today. Don't wait for me. Oh, is that so? Take your time. I'll look around for a while. I looked at Maida, hoping he had some idea to get me out of this, but he just grinned and took the broom from me. "Come on, let's clean up this place." I was only gonna fake cleaning a bit, but turns out Grandma's the most meticulous supervisor ever. "Orla, there's some trash over there. Look closely, honey, there are dry leaves in the corner. Then, you have to wipe these stains with a wet cloth." As soon as she went away, I lay on the field, panting with exhaustion. "Aren't you tired?" Oh man, I'm already drained out. Can't imagine how bad it's gonna get for me at Grandma's age. Poor her. It's scary how one day we might forget our family. Birth, aging, sickness, death. These are things we can't change. Orla, but one thing we could do is cherishing every moment with our loved ones, as these times are special. I was so wrong when initially I considered Maida as an impolite, annoying person. His deep thoughts made me feel comfortable enough to pour my heart out about my family. Why my parents divorced, why I didn't visit Grandma as much as I should have, and all the fights with my sister Rowan. We talked loads, and it felt like we've known each other forever. That night I kept tossing and turning, and couldn't stop thinking about how Maida diligently helped me clean up, about our conversation in the afternoon, and the way he helped me stand up. Oh, what's wrong with me? It's undeniable that this side of him is so attractive. But there's one problem. When we were leaving, he said to me, "See you tomorrow, Rowan." Yes, Rowan. How could he? Was it because all these acts in front of my grandma got him mixed up? Or is it because she's always on his mind? Never mind. It's none of my business. The next day I was sick of strolling around the campus, so I went to class with Rowan and Maida. Rowan's right. They seemed really close. During the lesson, both of them listened attentively to the lecturer, then turned to discuss with each other. Maida also patiently explained the part Rowan didn't understand to her. "Hey, what are we going to have for lunch? What's good in the canteen?" "You will take this course next year too, so focus." And then they got back to their discussion, as if I was invisible. Ugh, how frustrating.
Hey, are you jealous? Don't be, we're just friends.
Why did she say that? Jealous? That's absurd.
Still sulking? How about we go to the cinema tonight? I'll help you too.
And here we are. As planned, I would sit next to Maida while Rowan would be with Paul. Sounds good. But when Rowan was about to settle next to Paul, Maida immediately took that seat. So he didn't want to sit next to me, or he didn't want Rowan to be with Paul? Either way, he obviously didn't have feelings for me. As soon as the movie ended, I rushed out of there, just to catch some familiar sight of Grandma and Dad again. She started nagging and insisted on escorting me home. "Why are you still out here at this hour, Rowan? There was a lot to prepare for the wedding." Now the wedding's back on? Oh dear, you two. A groom-to-be shouldn't be playing around like this. Paul? Why don't you pair me with Maida like before, Grandma? After all, we were back to our former partners. I'm with Paul and Maida with Rowan. Well, it's just a fake wedding, so it doesn't matter who I was marrying to, right? But what was this uneasy feeling? And then, it's like Grandma had telepathy to hear my wish. Right before the ceremony started, her memory suddenly reset. "What are you doing sitting here? It's time. Get up there." She dragged Maida to the altar and told the best man, Paul, to step aside. Oh, how cute. And everything after that was like a dream. I walked down the aisle. Maida gently looked at me and sincerely made the vow. His acting was flawless, while I was buzzing with nerves. Sensing this, he gently held my hands to calm me down. I do. The crowd burst into applause, and among them I spotted Grandma's joyful face. Despite the exciting moment, I didn't let myself forget another important mission, which was helping my big sister to get a boyfriend. So I threw the bouquet to Rowan and winked at Paul. But weirdly, she didn't seem happy about this. That evening, after all the guests left, I went to look for Maida. To be honest, I really wanted to know if he felt the same as me. Here he was, but why did he look so agitated? I was about to call him when out of the blue he bolted to punch Paul repeatedly. "You jerk, stay away from Rowan, got it?" What's going on? They're fighting because of Rowan? So Maida really was pretending at the ceremony? He liked Rowan, not me. Didn't you say you're just friends with Maida? What's all this? Friends don't get jealous when someone else is flirting with you. Orla, it's not what you think. Knew it. She thought she could fool me again. I turned around and was about to chase after Paul to check on him, but someone's hand grabbed mine. It was Maida. "Paul is not as kind as you think he is." Turned out the reason why Rowan was awkward around Paul was because he always tried to touch her. Not to mention girls on social media were calling him out for taking advantage of them and cheating on them. Both Maida and Rowan knew it all, but they tried to put up with it through the wedding. However, he kept crossing the line, so today Maida decided to teach him a lesson. So how I acted at the movies that day and just now was to protect my friend, not because I'm jealous. I didn't know he did so much for my family. Orla, how come you're here? Isn't it still the school year? And also, your parents are so weird. When did they make up with each other? Oh, she called me by my name. She even questioned who Maida was. Her memory seems to be perfectly back. Thinking our grandma had recovered, Rowan quickly called our parents. We were over the moon thinking a miracle had happened. But then, the doctor crushed our newfound joy, saying it was a phenomenon called terminal lucidity, meaning our grandma didn't have much time left. None of us wanted to believe it, but there was nothing else we could do but make the most out of the precious little time we had left with her. I also decided to put college on hold to live with Grandma during her last days. Each morning, we would go for a walk together as I listened to her stories of the old days, and then share with her some of my fondest memories. Mom and Dad still bicker and then make up. Some things never change. But Rowan and I are getting along much better. Turns out we have more in common than we realized. And Maida, he still comes over to visit Grandma. Then one day, Maida was saying goodbye to me when Grandma suddenly shouted out loud, "Where do you think you're going? Still got loads to prepare? You think the wedding is a joke or something?" Wedding again? We froze and looked at each other till Grandma yelled at us a second time. But this round, maybe Maida and I wouldn't need to act anymore. Because when I asked him if he was ready to take a vow again, he replied, "Of course, Orla. I'm always ready to say those words to you every day."
It was the middle of the night, when flickering lights and clattering sounds awoke me from the most wonderful dream. Through bleary eyes, I saw my frantic parents peering over me. "Sweetie, you have to leave England right now. We've received a death threat." Death threat? What happened?
Hurry up and pack your things. We don't have much time.
But where am I going? And what about you guys?
To the US. For now, Elise, you go by the name Chloe Stewarts. Remember, if anyone asks, you don't have anything to do with this family.
At least arrange a comfy place for her, will you? Sweetie, I know this is hard, but we'll get you back as soon as this is sorted out, okay? Seeing Mum and Dad this worried, I tried to keep calm. I told them I'd be fine, and quickly left for the flight. I felt so unsettled about all of this. What would America hold for me? So here I am at Phillips Academy, and I'll be staying in that room. Hopefully, I'll be safe here for the time being. I couldn't stop thinking about what Mum and Dad had said. Who'd want to harm us? Dad owns one of the largest real estate firms in the UK, but he's a fair man who, as far as I'm aware, didn't have any enemies. This is all so crazy. I needed some fresh air. But there was a white shadow dangling outside that reads, "Get out!" Suddenly, a strong wind blew, making me step back and trip over a skull! Why is this here? Then the whole room echoed with this horror movie-like sound. My head was spinning when I spotted something. Ha! These tricks can't scare Elise the Fearless. I was about to destroy this thing when... Hey, stop! Who are you? Who are you? This is my bedroom. What are you doing in here? This room is not just for anyone. Who are your parents? I was still trying to steer away from his suspecting gaze when someone knocked on the door. It was a girl named Rita, sent by the school to help me out. She went on and on about the school regulations and boarding rules, but all I could think about was that boy. Any questions? Oh, not quite. I mean, the security here might be a little questionable. Aren't there any safety measures for the balconies? Actually, this is the only room here with a balcony, and it's quite eerie at times. Be careful. Anyway, here's your schedule for this term. Welcome to Phillips. Eerie. It was definitely a little weird. Is it because of that boy? Is he trying to scare people out of this room? According to the schedule Rita gave me, I have my first football practice today. But why are they all dressed funny? Everyone looked at me as if I was an alien and laughed their butts off. Here we call that soccer and this football. Ever played it before? Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm in the States now and they have different names for loads of stuff. How embarrassing. Don't sweat it. It's actually kind of cute of you. So, what's your full name? We may know your family. Chloe Stewarts, from England. Everyone then shrugged cluelessly. What a relief. I'm just a nobody to everyone now. However, Rita wouldn't let me blend in. She insisted my clothes were too sloppy for a Phillips student and dragged me to the mall. I like her, but sometimes she's so enthusiastic, if not a little too much. Elise? Elise Stone? What are you doing here? Has your family moved to America? Oh no, it's the worst timing to bump into some family friend. I frantically looked around to see if anyone heard her, but Elise Stone, huh? It's impossible to escape her questioning. So I told her everything and asked her to keep it a secret. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell a single soul. I've got your back, Chloe. Suddenly, the whole mall was flocking to the entrance. Our Golden Boys, the top player of the varsity football team. Golden Boys? Is this some sort of K-drama or something? Oh, that's the guy from my balcony. On the way back to my room, I kept wondering what that Golden Boy was doing on my balcony. When I found myself in a haunted house. What's that? Oh, this buddy was from today's biology class. As I carried the skeleton to the corner, I got caught in some toy spiders. Jeez. Suddenly, there was a streak of light from the balcony. Oh right, I forgot to close the door today. So this annoying intruder sneaked in. Again.
Hey, soccer girl. Impressed.
Why are you trying to scare me out? What do you want?
Well, I'm right next door and this balcony's always been mine. But since you moved in, I've lost the spot to chill.
That's it? I mean, I'm staying here for just the time being and I don't really need a balcony. Plus, the less trouble, the better. If you want it that bad, then you can have it. But only the balcony. Please don't ever come into my room without my permission again.
Sure thing. But since it's mine now, you can't just walk into my space either.
Deal. That's settled then. This door is now officially the border between us. The next morning, I was carrying the skeleton back to the equipment room. Someone bumped into me and accidentally sent the box flying. Oh no, what a mess.
Watch where you're going, you and your stupid thing.
You were the one running around. Maybe slow down when you're in the hallway wouldn't be a bad idea.
Are you talking back to me? You...
Hey guys, chill. Right then, the girl pushed Rita to the side, but someone caught her just in time.
Grace, why are you picking on the new girl? And you too, Aaron. Come on, man.
I don't care. She better apologize to my boyfriend.
Drop it, Grace. Are you okay? I know moving to a new country can be hard, so if you need anything, let me know.
I was still flustered by his overly friendliness when Rita dragged me away. You know Jeffrey? No, I literally just met him. Oh, sorry. Jeffrey is actually my boyfriend. But we've not gone public yet. Oh, that explains things. I told Rita to rest assured, as I'm not interested in him. I also found out that he's the head boy. No wonder why he knew everything about everyone, including a newbie like me. But as long as I go by Chloe Stewart's, it shouldn't matter, right? But apparently what matters to Grace, the mean girl, is another story. After that incident, she wouldn't stop playing dirty tricks on me. Oopsie, I'm such a klutz sometimes. Another time, I noticed other students giggling at me in the hallway. I didn't know what was going on until Rita took off a piece of paper and stuck to my back. This was such a Grace thing to do. Ugh, can she stop acting like a 9-year-old? But nope. As I was going to class, she threw a snake at me, startling me so much I almost fell over. But thankfully, a hand came just in time to catch me. Jaden!
Everyone listen up. Chloe is my girl. From now on, if anything happens to her, I'll be on you, Grace.
My girl? Since when? Couldn't wrap my head around it, so I decided to ask him that night. Earlier today. Why'd you say that?
Think of it as a thank you for letting me have the balcony. It actually means a lot to me right now.
Well, okay then, but I wonder what's so important to him out there. Never mind, we had a deal. I'd better just mind my own business. But who would have thought Jaden's statement would bring me so much trouble? I suddenly became the center of attention, especially with those Golden Boys surrounding me 24/7. I was gonna excuse myself when I heard the girls going primal over Jaden.
Of course someone with a goldfish brain like you would forget to eat.
Excuse me? I was just trying to finish this book before lunch. Who asked him to bring me food anyway? Great, now these girls had another reason not to like me. The Golden Boys started to act strangely, and Grace as well. This mean girl now watched over me like a hawk, while her boyfriend Aaron also acted up. Not to mention, Jeffrey always tried to be close to me, which put me in such a dilemma as I didn't want Rita to get the wrong idea about us. Then there was Jaden, who wouldn't quit acting like my bodyguard. I was enjoying myself at school festival when he suddenly appeared and dragged me out of there. This is getting too much. I'm not scared of some childish tricks from Grace, and I can take care of myself.
This isn't about Grace. A couple of times I've noticed someone watching you from a distance, and even following you around. I don't think it's safe for you to be in a crowd like that.
Was I being stalked this whole time? Is it the same person who gave my family the threat? Did they find out I'm here? Who knows what could have happened if Jaden wasn't looking out for me all this time? That night, as if to confirm Jaden's worry, Dad called me saying they'd received another threat, pinpointing my exact location. Dad sounded extremely anxious and kept telling me to be careful. As I was trembling with fear, somebody suddenly banged on my door. Freak out, I broke the deal with Jaden and ran straight onto the balcony.
You okay? What's going on?
Someone's knocking on the door.
There's no one there. Are you really that scared?
I suddenly realized what I was doing. Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing. But is he blushing too? I quickly looked to the side, surprised to see all the gear. What's all this? Are you trying to make bombs or something?
No, actually. This is to attract the fireflies.
Fireflies?
Yeah, they've always fascinated me. I needed your balcony for my project. See that right there? It's their playground. Plus, it's really airy out here.
Then he leaned over to switch some knobs on the machine, and suddenly there was a swarm of fireflies lighting up the whole place, creating a beautiful fairy tale-like scenery. His secret about my balcony had finally come to light. Literally.
I don't know what your secret is, but you need to stop being afraid. I'll find out who's behind this.
His determination touched my heart, but I still can't help worrying about the mysterious door knocks. Who could it be? Since then, I stuck by Jaden. We were like SpongeBob and Patrick everywhere we went. Despite all the death stares I got from the girls, I finally understood why they were going crazy over him. He might seem a little kooky at first, but he's actually so caring and unique. Before the end of the term, the school organized this camping trip for us. I tried to make sure Jaden was always in sight for my own safety. It wasn't an easy hike, as more and more people dropped out, except for Jaden, who didn't seem at all exhausted. Is he made of steel or something? I tried to keep up with him and occasionally stopped to catch my breath. But where'd he go? Panicked, I looked around for him, but all I saw were mountains and cold winds blowing at me. Suddenly, I felt a heavy stare on me, but no one was there. I quickly ran and called for Jaden, but someone grabbed me from behind. It was Jeffrey. Without a word, he just dragged me away. Well, what are you doing? Where are you taking me?
Sorry, but I gotta do this. I've been waiting so long for this moment. You should ask why fate landed you right in the hand of your enemy.
Enemy? What do you mean? Are you the one behind the threat?
My parents were, yeah. But now I'm in it too. Blame your dad and his stupid resident project that took away our land. The land that was supposed to be my family's mining area. And now we're going bankrupt, all thanks to you. And you know what? The news reached Rita's dad, and he's forcing us to break up.
But this is our parents' business, and I have nothing to do with it. Why are you taking it out on me?
Well, maybe if their precious daughter is in danger, they'll do something about it.
In danger? What is he gonna do? Right at that moment, someone appeared and freed me from Jeffrey's grip.
Sorry for leaving you alone, but I needed to know who was behind this. You stay out of this. This is none of your business. You need to calm down. Don't get yourself in trouble because of your parents' mistakes. Jeff, you've worked so hard to become head boy. Are you just gonna throw everything away?
Jaden's words seemed to touch him, as we saw Jeffrey fall to his knees.
I'll talk to my dad. I'm sure he could help you guys out with the business. Our families have always been close, and we've got you, Jeff.
Seeing Jeffrey break down, I felt bad for him. What he did was awful, but his parents never should have put him in this unfair position. That evening, Jeffrey seemed deep in thought when he suddenly dragged Rita out for a private talk, leaving everyone confused. Grace and Aaron then also left. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with fresh air, when suddenly all the fireflies appeared in the sky, followed by Jaden.
I know this is your call, but if you're willing to stay here instead of going back to England, I promise to take care of you.
I looked at Jaden, beaming against the beautiful skyline, and I couldn't help but feel my heart beat a little faster. He was so sweet and caring, but why was he doing this? Did he have feelings for me too? Right then, Rita and Jeffrey came back. Jeffrey apologized for scaring me, while Rita also said sorry for not keeping my identity a secret. What's done is done. Let's just enjoy this gorgeous sight in front of us. The next day, as we returned from our camping trip, we all arrived at the hall for a school notice. But when I arrived, it was just my homeroom teacher and classmates there.
We just heard from the principal you're going back to England, so we organized a small party for you. I hope you had a good time at Phillips.
Everyone also wished me luck on my journey, but Jaden didn't even bother to say goodbye. Suddenly, all the lights went out, followed by the candles, and Jaden.
I respect your decision to leave, but I just want to let you know, I really like you, and no matter where you go, I'll be thinking about you.
Actually, Jaden, I'm staying here.
I already told my dad, but that's all I want to hear. Elise Stone.
How long is this gonna take? So much for taking care of me.
Lex, starting today, I'm locking your phone and laptop away. Cruel! Isn't one leg cast enough punishment? Excuse me, you don't deserve to have a say in this. If you hadn't bought our daughter that death trap motorbike in the first place, she'd still be intact. Yeah, sorry for making sure she doesn't grow up boring like her mom.
Yeah, another lecture on how irresponsible I was eventually turned into a quarrel between mom and dad instead. They stopped only when mom needed to leave for her business trip in Egypt. I'm done arguing with you. I have a flight to catch. I've got my eye on you, young lady. All the way from Egypt? That's kinda hard. Well, at least Dad's here, so I won't be by myself. The next morning, I woke up to see a note stuck to the fridge. Alex, I'm shooting my new movie in Spain for a few months. There is a strict no-phone policy to avoid leaks. So if it isn't urgent, don't call me. Love, Dad. Seriously? Choosing work over me? Why am I still surprised? That's when you have a world-famous actor dad and an award-winning photographer mom. They're rarely home, and whenever they are, they're constantly at each other's throats. All the more reason for me to hang out with my biker gang. I love motorcycles. They're my only getaway. But that's how I messed up my leg. In my defense, I could totally nail that trick and win their stupid bet, if it wasn't for that bumpy road. However, not a single one of my homies has checked on me since then. Not even my boyfriend Blake. But what's really bumming me out is that school's out for summer, yet I can hardly move. So, bored out of my mind, I came up with a new way to entertain myself, which was playing candid camera on this whole suburbia. Thanks to my mom's camera, I had eyes on the newlyweds Cunninghams on the right, the Carpenters on the left, a few other houses, and, ooh, tiny Timmy across the street. I swear to God, I almost thought some hunky guy had just moved in. My childhood friend Tiny Timmy had officially grown into Timothy. He looked just like a muscular version of Timothy Chalamet. Then Tim suddenly sat up and we accidentally made eye contact. Awkward. Looking good, handsome. He's even cuter when he smiles. Oh, he's replying. Even better up close. That's bold, Timmy. Too bad, though. Sorry, lame. Tim looks confused at first. Then when he saw my cast, he immediately leaves the room. Huh? A broken leg is enough to scare him off? He's lame. Then the doorbell rang. Hey, that took a while. You're here? Of course, you need to have a closer look, and could use a hand, or a leg. Yeah, come help this damsel in distress. From then on, Tim came over every day to help me out around the house. He'd been really helpful and even tried riding my motorcycle so it didn't have to sit idle for too long. Other than that bulked up body, he's still the friend I knew back in the day. We still had so much fun playing video games and watching movies together. You have to watch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's nuts. Actually, I thought you might be into Lady Bird. Such a heartwarming coming-of-age story. Ew, no way. Timothy Chalamet is in it. Okay, sold. But how do you know that it'd sway me? I just do. Like how I know you spy on me from time to time, which, by the way, is super creepy. Yeah, right. As if he didn't intentionally leave his blinds open while working out. Mr. Shy Guy. One day, as usual, me and Tim were hanging out, when suddenly my dear boyfriend Blake made a noisy entrance. Babe, you won't believe this. There's a racing tournament going on in the Upper West Side. You have to come. What's going on here? Sup? What do you mean, sup? Who's this little brat? Oh, this is Tim. Tim, this is Blake. Say hi. Hi. I don't care. What do you think you're doing? Watch your tongue. You've been ignoring me for weeks, and now you show up raving on about some dumb street racing contest? You don't even remember that I broke my leg, do you? But, you're mine! Blake was fuming like a bull ready for battle, and about to throw hands at Tim, but he stopped his fist mid-air. A defeated-looking Blake fled off as soon as he got out of Tim's grip. Coward. I apologized to Tim for dragging him into this mess, and he was surprisingly cool about it. Just curious. How did Blake and you become a thing? He's the leader of the biker gang, so I thought he was cool. But honestly, I never expected our relationship to last. Just like every other couple's. Exhibit A, my parents. I see. My dad's a good example as well. Then Tim revealed that his dad left his mom for another woman last year, which really upset him. I could relate so much to his situation. Maybe being locked up at home wasn't so bad after all, since we had the chance to catch up on everything. But the following morning, when I was chilling in my room, something horrible caught my eye. Something blonde. It looked like she was returning a hoodie to Tim. What kind of friend borrows a hoodie and acts like that around each other? Let's see what he has to say for himself. Who's that blonde? What was she doing at your place today? What? Who? She might look like strawberry shortcake, but don't be fooled. Whatever love you two might think you have will soon fade. That sweetness will turn sour in no time. Tim just burst out laughing. What's so funny? What made you think so? You don't even know Annabelle. Don't believe me? See for yourself. I then showed him all of the secrets I'd uncovered in our seemingly quiet neighborhood. First off, the couple from number 9 were both having affairs. The daughter from number 11 was using her boyfriend to hide her real relationship with another girl. And last but not least, the Carpenters, who seemed like suburban couples goal, actually had a far from blissful life due to Mr. Carpenter's drinking problem. In conclusion, there's no such thing as real love. I see your point, but on the other side of the spectrum, genuine love does exist. Tim points the camera towards the Cunninghams. I'm not buying their poster couple act. Then, one day, Tim said he had to work overtime at the library to prepare for an event with, you guessed it, Annabelle only. I had to hide my anger as I watched him drive off with Blondie. With nothing else to do, I decided to watch the Cunninghams. Geez, how could they seem so lovey-dovey all the time? I wanted to take my mind off of Tim, but the more I observed them, the more I thought about him with that Barbie. That's when I saw a book that Tim borrowed for me from the library. Looks like it's time to return it. I Ubered there, but there are many people here as well. Why did Tim say that the two of them would be here alone? Tim's face turned into this scream when he saw me. Didn't think I could get this far? Hi, don't mind me. I'm just here to return this. You should have just given it to me. Oh god, no. I can see that you're busy with Annabelle, isn't it? Yeah. How do you know my name? Oh, let's see. You remind me of that creepy doll who's also an absolute nightmare. Tim then immediately dragged me away. See? He's caring for me, not you, Annie. However, the fun was interrupted right away when I saw Blake outside. Time for you to pay. Tim immediately stood between Blake and me, but to our surprise, Blake signaled for his goons hiding close by to show themselves. Clearly outnumbered, I tried to stop the situation from getting worse. Let's be civilized here. We can sort this out without violence. You're right, babe. We can settle this with a bet. Whoever can do the trick that broke Lex's leg and top it off with the Akira slide can have her fair and square. The loser has to back down. First of all, I'm not some kind of trophy. Second of all, that stunt is incredibly dangerous. Right, Tim? Sounds worth it, though. Have both of you lost your minds? Tim went first, and even though he flunked it, he managed to land without a scratch, while Blake landed on his face. Of course, that fiasco got the whole gang so embarrassed, they scrammed immediately. But I was still so annoyed. Congratulations, you won absolutely nothing. Not that I didn't care about him, I just couldn't stand his recklessness anymore. The next day, I was woken up by a doorbell. So, what are you here for? Sorry about last night, but if you stayed longer, I could have told you that I did what I did because I like you. Romantic styles. I don't even remember since when, but I do remember how sad I was when we stopped hanging out. Believe it or not, I started working out just to impress you. Whoa, what? Tim explained that nothing was going on between Annabelle and him. They were simply co-workers. And he made up that whole thing about being alone with her at the library to see my reaction. What do you say? I can make you believe in love. Tim, don't be ridiculous. Love isn't anything like the movies. It's merely a temporary chemical reaction in your brain that makes you think you're really feeling it. Come on, just give it a chance. No, look at my parents, your father, all the families in this neighborhood. If you ask me, your feelings for me right now will fade, just like mine with Blake. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I thought I was special enough for you to take a leap of faith. Now I know how wrong I was. He then left without another word. When Tim closed his blinds, honestly, I felt a sting in my chest. this is for the best, right? I can't deny the uneasiness I felt without Tim. It's not that I didn't want us to make up, I just didn't know how. Seeing how happy and smiley he was with her, my uneasy feeling only grew bigger. Is this what they call love? No. It's not real. Happy-looking families are not actually happy, and the Cunninghams are just good at faking it. What's that I'm hearing? Are they fighting? I saw the husband suddenly punch the wall with rage, then push the wife. I no longer had eyes on them, but could hear a huge commotion over there. What on earth is going on? Panicked, I called the cops right away. Wait a second, that means their happy marriage really was fake. I excitedly limped across the street to tell Tim about my discovery, then dragged him over to the Cunninghams' front lawn. However, when the cops arrived, both of them answered the door perfectly fine. Turns out they already knew about my spying, and were so annoyed by it, they decided to pull a prank on me. Great, my curious neighbors have also witnessed this whole humiliating ordeal. But the worst part was seeing the disappointment on Tim's face. You have to stop being so stubborn. Not every family is like yours. I couldn't say a word, not even when the cops gave me a warning. That night, I tossed and turned as Tim's words wiggled around my mind. Suddenly, something caught my attention. It's from Tim's house. Some flashlights were moving around. I tried calling Tim, but he didn't answer. Of course, he'd be in deep sleep by now. Calling the cops was useless because of that very recent embarrassing incident. That's it. I'm doing it myself. Out there on Tim's front lawn, my heart was beating like crazy. Thieves! Thieves! The startled thieves turned around, so I blared the air horn, then shouted, "Freeze! Stay where you are! Hands over your heads!" But obviously, I, a teenager with one working leg, never actually expected any criminal to stand still. They quickly got a hold of me, and right when I thought my life was over, "Get away from her!" Tim, thank goodness! Other neighbors also came and stopped the thieves. Tim called the cops, and this time they reported to the scene ASAP. Phew, that was insane. Mrs. Jones, Tim's mom, thanked me and invited me to stay the night. It's really nice of her, even though she burst out laughing when I explained the situation with the Cunninghams. When Tim went to grab some drinks for us, she asked me why I was alone in this condition. So I spilled everything about my family. Contrary to her reaction just now, she showed me sympathy. From her experience, love didn't always have a happy ending, but it doesn't mean it's not real. Tim's dad and I had genuine feelings for each other. It's just that over time, things changed. We're open to accept this and be honest with each other. That's what real love is. I wouldn't change a thing, and I would still fall crazily in love with him, despite knowing we would eventually break up. Because that's how I got Tim, the second real love of my life. Her words hit different. Maybe I'd given love a bad name. You're right, love is not at fault, and Tim is so lucky to have a loving mom like you. Meanwhile, my parents don't just hate each other, they put it all on me too. Bet you, even tonight's incident won't make them care. I see where you're coming from, but why don't you just give it a try? Their reactions might surprise you. So, I called them up, and guess what? They both sounded concerned on the phone and said they'd come home as soon as they could. See, I told you so. It's alright now. Timmy, please show Lex where she'll be sleeping. That was really brave of you. Being all heroic out there despite your whole situation. I wouldn't have risked my life if it wasn't for what? I'm all ears. For you. I'm sorry I overreacted. The thought of becoming a boring old couple who hate each other bugged me. But then I realized if we were together, we wouldn't have to be that. We could be like the Cunninghams. That doesn't sound too bad now, does it? I guess not. Next morning, I woke up to my parents' call. They actually kept their promise this time. My mom explained that she thought Dad was home to take care of me, while Dad absent-mindedly assumed Mom only left in a fit of anger and was going to return soon. So they really do care about me. They just have a terrible way of showing it. They stayed together, thinking it would be best for me. But the unending tension and bickering was eating us all up from the inside. This incident opened their eyes, so they agreed to have a peaceful divorce while still looking after me together. I'm finally free from the cast, but I actually feel even more liberated than before. Is this the power of my newfound belief in love? Is it because I've realized that love was around me all along? I'm not sure myself, but Who cares? Alex and Timothy signing off.
Hey, I'm Sage, but you can call me Witch. That's what all the townspeople call me anyway. My folks run a funeral home called Black Rose, and some superstitious people consider this a bad omen. By some, I mean the entire town. Everything about us is spooky and weird. Want to see our house? It kinda has that monster house vibe and looks like a fort in the middle of this dollhouse neighborhood. I did try making friends with the other kids, but it never worked out. Ah! Don't eat the cookies! They're poisoned! Despite all that, Mom and Dad found their work meaningful and put a lot of effort into it. Well, maybe a little too much? I guess the reason why they're so emotional is because they know what it feels like to lose someone dear to them. My little sister Leah's missing, and it's all my fault. We'd searched for her everywhere for 5 years, but still, no news. It was a terrible time for my family, but instead of showing us support, the neighbors spread absurd rumors about Leah's disappearance. Some said the devil took her, while others said we sacrificed her during a satanic ritual. These heartless people were never going to change their minds about us, so I decided to just go along with it. This is why no one dares to bother me, as they don't want to be cursed. Ouch! Oh, sorry, miss. We're just trying to catch that bird. Please don't curse us. Jesus, that poor little thing. If you hurt an innocent creature again, I'll turn you into one and see how you like having stones shot at you. Blood drained immediately from their faces as they screamed and bolted. I carefully took the bird out of the bush, then brought it to my forest house. This is my secret hideout deep in the forest. I have my own garden where I plant herbs to heal injured animals. This isn't a wild bird. It even has a name. Must be someone's pet. Okay, Sky, so you like to sneak out, huh? The world out there is dangerous. I should bring you home. I followed the address on Sky's tag and took her there. Guess her owner wouldn't be happy if they thought a witch had cursed her, so it's better not to show myself. No one wants anything to do with a witch. But no matter how annoyed or scared they acted, I just don't care. Having the place to myself has its perks. But then out of the blue, a guy slumped on the chair opposite me. How dare he? I could feel his eyes peeking at me. Another idiot wanting to test his courage. Hey, Sage, right? We're in the same English literature class. But in case you didn't know, I'm Mark. Why should I know your name? Oh, I just wanted to... If you don't want to get diarrhea, sleep paralysis, or skin rashes, don't ever talk to me. Then I turned around to leave, but tripped over something and fell forward. You alright? This is crazy. Who asked him to do that? Then I came home to find an angry crowd in front of my house. Those eerie sounds are keeping us awake at night. What kind of dark magic are you practicing? Your black sorcery made my curling iron overheat and burn my hair. Must be some demonic influence messing around here. Turns out, strange things were happening to every house in the neighborhood. So these superstitious people blamed everything on my family and even wanted to kick us out. We can't move. We have to wait here. For Leah. She's with the devil now. She's obviously not coming back. So go away. Never talk about my sister like that again. Get out of here! Coincidentally, there was a loud rumble of thunder right at that moment. Horrified, they started pointing and calling me a witch. Go home, everyone, for your own safety. I'll take it from here. This man is Mr. Thompson, the town's mayor. He came with an offer to help our family move away in peace. Believe me, it's best for everyone. If and when your daughter comes back, you'll be informed right away. After he left, my parents seemed to be thinking about moving away for real. What's gotten into them? We didn't do anything wrong. Why do we have to leave? I'm not going anywhere. My parents might be weak, but I'm not. I'll wait for my sister here. She promised me she'd help me care for those poor creatures. She will be back. Achoo! What was that? It sounds like a guy's sneeze? Who's there? Show yourself. Ugh, you idiot. Come out alone. Both of you. Now. Those two look familiar. Right, they're Meg and Nick, the infamous best friend duo in my school. It turns out they were curious about the strange phenomena happening at Meg's house too. They wanted to see if I was really using witchcraft to cause all that. We didn't expect to see you healing animals here. Why do you let people think you're a witch? They can call me a witch, an alien, or whatever. I don't care, as long as they leave me be. I hate it when people annoy me, which is what you two are doing now. Quit following me and never come here again. But they didn't leave. Instead, Meg told me about a black rose that always appeared at the scene. Of course, it reminds the townsfolk of my family. Nick thought that made no sense. I mean, if it really was us, why would we make it that obvious? Someone's clearly trying to frame us. That's it. If I found that person, my family could live here in peace again. We'll investigate together. We can catch the bad guy and be heroes, like a detective squad. Sounds like you've been watching too much Scooby-Doo. And why aren't you guys scared of me? Actually, I'd make a great Daphne. And come on, we just saw you feeding the cats. Even if you are a witch, then you must be a kind one. The next day, I was going downstairs when I heard some chattering noise. Are those angry townsfolk back? I was about to scare them away, but I saw my parents warmly welcoming Meg and Nick? This is the first time I'd had friends come over, so my parents were overreacting. I hurriedly pulled my so-called friends out of the house. I guess disturbing me has become a habit to you, huh? We didn't know how else to contact you.
Anyway, we'd like to introduce you to an IT expert. He's agreed to help us.
Then suddenly, a guy standing behind the black rose bush appeared and said hi to me. Isn't that the guy from the library?
This is Mark, the newest member of our squad. Good to see you again. I hope you'll remember my name this time.
So, this Mark guy was really serious about this. He's now telling Nick how he could get data from all of the cameras in the neighborhood, which sounded like some kind of alien language to me. Look, our tech genius found something. Mark is awesome, right, Sage?
I guess? Someone hacked into these houses' networks and was causing their electrical appliances to go haywire. And every night at 11 o'clock sharp, the camera would be disconnected. Not for long, just enough for someone to place a black rose at the scene unnoticed. Can you track down that hacker's IP address? Yes, and also their coordinates.
That's Clara's house? Wait, Clara?
The drama queen who always plays up everything about me? Does she hate me that much to target my whole family?
We reached out to Clara to talk privately, but she flat out denied everything. What is wrong with you? Did this witch hypnotize you into becoming her slave? Blink twice if you need help.
We have proof. You can't get away with this.
Are you threatening me? This is illegal. I will tell my father about this. You think you're a big deal just because your father is the mayor? Big enough for you to watch out?
She's the mayor's daughter?
What's with that smug attitude? Everyone in this school remembers how she embarrassed herself last year after Mark rejected her. You may not know this, but Mark is the most popular guy among the girls in our school.
It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in those girls.
You don't have to explain yourself to me. I don't even care. The atmosphere suddenly became weirdly awkward.
Well, now the only way is to stalk Clara and catch her red-handed.
But we've been sitting here for an hour and nothing's happened. This snooping scheme is so silly. I was about to leave when Mark stopped me. Someone was coming out of Clara's house. Gotcha. Still trying to deny it now, Clara? Mark took off his mask, but who's this man? He suddenly flung out, then attacked Mark and ran off. We were about to chase him when Mark cried out in pain. Meg and Nick told me to take Mark home while they chased after the guy. I brought him home. This house looks so familiar. Oh, this was the owner's house of Sky, the bird I'd saved. Mark explained he'd seen me bring Sky back and was impressed with the note I'd left on how to take care of its wound.
I knew everyone had been wrong about you, so I wanted to thank you and be your friend.
I'm not someone who could make friends. Then I quickly left. The next day, Mark helped us arrange a meeting with Clara at the cafe where he worked. When Clara heard about the man coming out of her house last night, she seemed shaken and said he was probably one of her dad's staff. However, when Meg asked her for her help, Clara refused. We hit a dead end again, but Mark said he already had a solution. Before he could tell us, the cafe owner appeared and told me that spooky stuff was happening and asked me to leave. The holy statue, the town's symbol, was broken, and they found another black rose at the scene. Meg and Nick immediately jumped to my defense, but he didn't listen. He also forbade Mark from hanging out with me, or else he'd fire him. I'll leave now! See? I'm not good at making friends. I only bring them trouble. I dashed away so no one could see me cry. However, suddenly, someone's hand grabbed mine, then pulled me onto the bus just as it arrived at its stop. Mark? What are you doing? He'll fire you!
I quit. That kind of boss doesn't get to fire me.
It's all my fault.
Don't worry. I have a ton of different jobs. Waiter, dog walker, even babysitter. Anything that makes money.
What's the money for?
This bus will take you to the answer.
We got off at the last stop, an orphanage. So Mark was donating the money he earned to these orphans.
Promise me you'll show them your true kind side.
At first, I wasn't sure if I could, but then I gradually opened up to these sweet kids. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure watching other children having fun from afar. Is that Leah? My sister? Turns out, 5 years ago, a lost kid was found wandering by the bus stop. She was so scared that she couldn't remember anything about her family. She only said a few separate words like funeral or dead people, so the nuns thought her parents had passed away and took her in. During her time here, she couldn't blend in with other kids. Seeing how Leah pushes others away, I saw myself in her. She shouldn't live her life the same way I do. I then called my parents and they came to pick us up right away. Oh boy, it surely was the tearful reunion of the century. Thank you so much. We only found Leah thanks to you. I'm glad to help, but that's not all. I've got something else to show you. As it turned out, Mark bugged Clara's phone at the cafe. It recorded a call she had with her father, exposing him as the culprit behind the town's mishaps. It appears Mr. Mayor wanted to build a shopping mall, but he needed to clear up some space for it. Using my family's bad rap, he played spooky tricks on the townspeople to scare them into selling their homes for cheap. When Clara found out the truth, she begged her father to stop, but he refused to. Meg and Nick posted the recording on the internet, causing outrage among our town. The cops arrested him, and my family's name was cleared. All our neighbors apologized to my family for letting their superstitions blindside them. My parents were obviously touched, so they forgave them all, and threw a party. So my family was reunited. Not only did I find my sister, but also 3 good friends. Well, maybe 2 good friends, and 1 more than just a friend. You are watching the incredible Berries Blue. I'm Sonia, the super talented lead vocalist, and that guy over there rocking the guitar is Eric, my boyfriend. He's also our composer and backing vocalist. Yep, my man's good at everything, just like me. Actually, he's the one who discovered my vocal talent and helped me on my road to fame. Our debut album exploded onto the charts. And the rest is history. Eric asked me to be his girlfriend right on stage after our set. I don't know who was more excited, me or my adoring fans. Everything was perfect. And then our next album flopped. I guess all that pressure had interrupted Eric's writing process. I tried to send him positive energy. We had a big show coming up to debut our new single and start our comeback. Who knows when the sun will rise again, right? But during our performance, as Eric stepped back to give me the spotlight, I stepped forward and suddenly slipped and fell.
Sonia, your nose! It's crooked!
I was rushed into surgery, but my nose looked like a lightning bolt. I can't look like this. I must be beautiful.
You'll always be the cutest girl to me. No need to worry. We can still fix it.
But right after that, the photo of my busted nose hit the headlines. I got ridiculed for praising natural beauty and then getting plastic surgery. What vultures! I had to upload the video of me slipping to end these rumors, but they claimed I did it on purpose to get attention. What on earth? We thought all that drama was finally over, but no. Right when my nose healed, my chubby, pre-puberty secondary school photo appeared all over the internet, which sparked rumors about me having my whole body reconstructed. Some anonymous posts even made up that I was hot-tempered and snooty to band crew and waiting staff. I mean, maybe I could be a bit abrupt, but I was famous, so I was allowed to get what I wanted. Then, Let's Cancel Sonia began to circulate. Do these tragic people have nothing better to do than gossip about me? But my fans took notice, and a load of our tour tickets got canceled. My manager freaked out and made me go on leave until the rumors died down. How ridiculous! Worse still, they were actually going to try to replace me? The beautiful, one-of-a-kind lead vocalist? How dare they do this to me? I am the band!
Hang in there, babe. I promise I'll find a way to get you back.
Obviously, my photos didn't leak themselves. Some jerk did this, and it's now my life mission to track them down and make them pay. Okay, so from my internet searching, I traced the original rumor to this group of my anti-fans. Can you believe they actually met up at this cafe once a month just to badmouth me? They even had a schedule. How ridiculous! What had I ever done to them? Disguising myself, I showed up to find out more clues. Inside were those terrible leaked pictures of me. Jeez, these people clearly had way too much time on their hands. Wait, this guy looks familiar. Is he Owen, my high school crush? He was my senior in the music club and a super talented singer, guitarist, and composer. But how come he's my anti-fan? I never even spoke to him. The group buzzed about how pretentious I am. They even said Eric and I were fake dating just to cover up the news about our latest album flop. Ahem. Obviously, our love is real.
I never tire of hearing trash talking about that Eric guy's songs, but it's closing time. If you posted about Barry's Blue, please claim your money from the counter before leaving.
What? Owen actually paid them to slander my band? Why was he so intent on ruining my career? Did he have a personal vendetta against me? I just had to find my own way to figure all this out. Making myself one of them should do it. I immediately called to apply for the job, and I got it. Showtime! It's important to look the part, so I dressed up as this innocent-looking girl for my first shift. Thanks to the magic of makeup, even I could hardly recognize myself. Call me Summer from now on. After the introduction, Owen immediately gave me tons of work. I had to do the heavy lifting and stinky, dirty work. I was a pampered star, not a grunt. Ugh, he's such an exploitive boss. I must have been crazy to have ever crushed on him. In the evening, the anti-fan group showed up again, followed by a familiar face. It's Rena? Owen's little sister. Back in high school, she was quite arrogant. It seemed like nothing had changed. Did you know that Sonia was such a weirdo in high school? Now that she's famous, she's acting like she's above everyone else. Stop right there, carrot hair. What's your name?
I'm Summer?
So, Summer, here we've got a special requirement for every newbie. You have to pass the anti-fan test. Tell us, what do you think's the most irritating thing about Sonia?
Ugh! Now I have to defame myself? Actually, I was Sonia's childhood friend. Well, just a neighbor. She was the worst kid in the neighborhood.
What did Sonia look like when she was young? And how was her personality?
She was chubby and cruel to other kids. She threw bugs at them and never shared her toys.
Take notes, guys. Remember to cite the source as Sonia's close neighbor. You can get some bonus, too, for contributing useful information like this.
Was Rena also involved in this, along with her brother? When Rena left, the other anti-fans, Caleb, Violet, and June, still didn't leave, but turned to the stage and started tuning the instruments? What? They'd composed a whole song to mock me, not only about my surgery rumors, but also that I was a vain, hot-tempered, competitive, talentless, disrespectful, and never used my abundant money to help others. Their music was good, but the insolence killed their skills. I'm curious, why do people hate Sonia that much? She's rude and her music sucks.
Yeah, her natural voice is good, but it doesn't have any emotions. She probably doesn't know anything about love, and doesn't have any friends either.
Those comments from the anti-fans got me thinking. I suppose I do find it hard to open up to people, and I can be a bit hot-headed sometimes, but am I really that unlikable? Not the nose again, please! Huh? Owen? First you break the cups, now you're wasting sugar.
Sugar? Seriously? Aren't you even going to ask if I'm hurt?
If I leave here with just a scratch, this place will be finished, you know. This place was fine until you showed up. At least, Summer, you should learn how to apologize and thank.
Suddenly, the anti-fans' words echoed in my head.
As Summer, Owen still saw how much of a diva I was. That means, as Sonia, I must have been so despicable. I'm sorry. I should have thanked you for helping me. That's okay. I'm glad you're not hurt. Don't forget Rena's reward at the counter. Take it before you go. Why do you have to pay others to badmouth Sonia? I'm only going along with all this for my sister, but it brings more customers in, so whatever. So the person behind this is Rena? I don't think so. Someone must be pulling her strings. But who? I don't know. Why are you so concerned, Summer? I was just curious. I used to think badly about Owen, but beneath his cold front, he's kind of sweet and caring. Just like years ago. I was trying to escape the rain and bumped into him. He saved me from falling. Didn't care how sweaty I was, and even gave me his umbrella. But in front of my crush, I was too shy and embarrassed to say anything and hurried off. Since then, I didn't feel so uncomfortable hearing the anti-fans slate me and our band's decline. It was almost all true anyway. At least this way, I could learn from my past mistakes and become a way better person. Flowers grow in the strangest of places, right? Yeah. These anti-fans actually became my friends. Playing with them was way more fun than with the berries somehow. Okay guys, you need to share your music with the world. So, I signed up our budding band for a local music competition. Well, what? But we're not professionals. Do you really think we can win?
Who cares? I always wanted to perform on a big stage. But what are we gonna play?
Use one of my songs if you want. I hear the payout is pretty good. Ooh, I love your songs.
We practiced together every night, and everyone was so focused on this, they didn't post bad rumors about me anymore. Owen is truly a genius. Listening to him playing his intros always gave me goosebumps. And so, the image of a cute, talented Owen reappeared in my mind. Oh no, wake up, Sonia, you already have a boyfriend! Eric? Speaking of Eric, he's been ignoring all of my calls. I get it, he's busy rehearsing for the show, but didn't he promise to find a way to bring me back?
Oh, I see. You're too busy playing bands to post anything.
We have a show this weekend!
You started this, didn't you, Summer? I knew you were trouble from the beginning. Get out of here!
I'm on her side. Are you gonna kick me out too?
Don't you see I'm doing this for you? Did you forget that Eric stole your songs and used them for his debut album?
Rena, don't you think I already know what you're up to? You and that Eric guy are seeing each other, right? Doesn't he want you to spread rumors so he can replace Sonia, his current girlfriend?
He says if I succeed, her place in the band will be mine.
An affair is one thing, but he can't help you shine with that tuneless music.
That's why I need your songs! Owen, just give me a few and everything will go smoothly.
At that moment, it all became clear. The only album that made a name for the Berries was actually stolen. And worse still, the person behind my plummeting career was my own boyfriend. That jerk Eric craves fame and would never let himself get caught up in a love triangle scandal. You know how important public opinion is to him. He's using you, and as soon as you give him what he wants, he'll drop you without a thought. I'm not that easily replaceable.
What do you mean, Summer?
I'm sorry for lying about who I really am, but not everything is fake. I wish you could feel it. Pass my words to him. I'm out. And you, Rena? That jerk doesn't deserve any of our love or trust. Even if I didn't want to go back to being the famous Sonia, I couldn't continue to be the carefree Summer either. I didn't realize they were there. They must have heard everything.
You're Sonia, not Summer? All this time? You lied to us!
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you or trick you. Your words made me want to change myself for the better, and your music taught and inspired me a lot. Caleb, Violet, June, I just want to be friends with you.
Who wants to be your friend, you liar?
I may have found out the truth about myself and Eric, but now I've lost my career, my friends, my boss, everything. I'd made such a mess of everything, and I didn't know how to fix it. I don't deserve to be Sonia, or even Summer. It must be a delivery guy. I barely had the energy to get up and open the door. Standing in front of me was... Owen? Did he come all the way here just to see me?
Sonia, I've been thinking a lot about your band and Eric, and I realized that this isn't your fault. You can't let Eric win. You're too talented for that. If you show everyone your true self, I just know they'll love you.
Actually, there's one thing I want to confess to you. I used to have a crush on you in high school, but you probably didn't even know I existed.
Really? That's so dumb.
What do you mean?
Actually, at that time I liked you too. You were so cute and shy with that beautiful voice. But when I came closer to talk to you, you just ran away.
If I had been more confident and braver, maybe we could have become something different.
What about now? I mean, do you still want to sing my song?
It'll be an honor. Your song is always special. Owen pulled me to the competition and tenderly strapped the bass on for me. Going out there without the rest of the band seemed terrifying, but we couldn't give up. Owen was about to lead me on stage when Rena rushed over to us and grabbed my arm. Sonia, I messed up. It's true that Eric was using me, and I had been so blind to trust him that much. I've corrected the misinformation about you. I was hugging her when the rest of the anti-fans appeared. I apologized to them how I was now a better version of myself because of them. Turns out we really like Summer, so we forgive you.
Now we're ready to rock the night. You can't sing with them, Sonia. That song is supposed to be the theme song in our next album.
Eric! It's Owen's song, not yours. And didn't Rena tell you that I no longer give a damn about your band?
I did. Seems he wasn't listening.
We've published your dirty plan all over the forums, so everyone can see what a jerk you are.
No! You have to come with me. Tell them you made it all up.
Leave her alone. I won't let you take anything from me again. My song or my girl.
She's our friend now, so excuse us. We need to get on stage and perform our song.
I can't believe I'm back on stage again. Only this time, it's so much better. My bandmates are awesome. The song is amazing, and the crowd is going wild. I saw Eric shamefully disappear through the crowd. Tough luck. That's what being a big, slimy liar gets you. Toward the end of the song, Owen pulled me close to him and the crowd went silent. All I could hear was the beating of my heart.
when he gave me the best kiss ever.